Alright guys, this is part 6 of the Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin build series. In part 6 what we will be doing is focusing on the front suspension and steering. Now this is going to be pretty straightforward. It's a very simple design. It is a little fiddly. However, what I have done is I have done the left hand side suspension arm. So the reason why I've done it off camera as a broken record, this will be purely to save on time. So I've got my screws, I've got the parts, we'll get into it. So first of all, when you're doing it, make sure you take note of the orientation of the arms. So now what we'll do is we'll get some grease, put a little grease into the steering knuckle, and okay, screw it in. Wipe any excess grease off. Make sure it doesn't bind, that it moves nice and smoothly. Alright, now we'll put, this is a shock mount. And that's a message. Okay, now unfortunately this next part's going to be a little odd. What you're supposed to have through here, there's like a little brass collet that goes through, and then a screw goes through that, through the suspension arm. Well, I can't find them. I might have to improvise later on, but for camera it just goes through. And then we'll just screw it on. Make sure you have the right one. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little loose. So you'll see how it kind of jumbles around. I will fix that off camera. Alright, now next part we'll need a 1.5mm hex driver. You should have these basic tools that come with the kit. I just like to use my own tools. Alright, so that's the suspension arm done. So now what we'll do is we'll mount it to the chassis. Just goes through a hole here, then into there like that. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll put the screws in. So it needs 3. And while we're at it, let's put the front bumper on. So what we'll need is screws and washers. There's a third screw to put in, but we'll put that in last. Alright guys, so there we have it. We have our suspension arms on, and we'll tell you what, we'll connect up the steering linkage as well, since we've got time. Alrighty, we have functioning steering and suspension. When you do it, just check your suspension to make sure there's no binding, make sure it moves up and down nicely. Alright guys, so we're getting towards the final end, so what I'm going to do next video is we will look at building the front shocks, and it'll be relative to the rear as well. So stay tuned.